NFM Radio. NFM Radio. Emu daho.
Welcome to the show, Mansa Musa show. Mansa Musa talking. The talk show. The talk show. It is a Wednesday, the 30th of August. Yes, the 30th of August, 2023. Welcome you all to the show. It's called Fire Will Burn You. Tonight we have a lot to talk about. But if you have something else to talk about, even when you call me, I will let you speak. This program, though, is being sponsored by the ejumapa.com app. This ejumapa.com is just like the one we have in the UK here. It's a checker trader. Anytime you want somebody to go and do a job for you, you want to invite a trade person, a tradesman, or a trade person to come do some work for you. You call, you go to the app, check a trader. Thank you. Check a trader in UK here, then they will recommend some very good tradesman, or let's say carpenter, mason, anybody, electrician, they will recommend for you. Equally, we have the same in Ghana as we speak. If you want to do a job, you want a job done in Ghana, or maybe Ghana. Now say, ope say, ofre fitenia na mason na say, obia na ope say oye ejumama no. Okosa app ya your friend no Ejumapa FM. Sorry, nye FM. Ejumapa.com. Omo behwehwe obia ne hote. Obia onye kronfo. Okay, thank you. Obia ono chese we sure adwuma no owo ho certificate. Adwuma bi oho awokoya, you should even have your own personal insurance. Sane mo na nyina no. Sa what your friend saying, sa app omo hwe app no so no be make sure say we here obi o Ghana akoye adwuma bi amawa nipa no be ma no guarantee e wo ho ni say nipa no ono a won insurance, nipa no nye wi onye kronfo onye arm robber ombesisiu, all those sort of very important indeed. And so me there yenya bi o Ghana ye me de pa enti the American say uko app no so ye simple ejumapa.com. That's all, ejumapa.com. Uko sa app no so e wo Google Play and now say Apple Store no a uko na ko hwe ejumapa.com oni omu dinkita ho a omu bisa sa unya wo hia na ojawa de obeka so Mansa Musa and a car on the radio show. So that's all what you got to say. That's all. That's just say me home for so me nyan on the free new obium. Into you can't say no and say Mansa Musa so your person. So na me know. And so I'm giving it to you. How do I say it? I'm advising you to go to that app and look for a trade person in Ghana to help you with whatever you want to do. It is that straightforward, and it is that very important as well. Obi ka o si we ye the amount free na won pay we na opede. So the aname can say UK ha ye free BB check a trade. Check a trade ni say o pese we ye edwuma bia wo fia. Okay, thank you. Sa nkrofo we sa app no be bo emo nyane papa ama akoye edwuma kra wo pe no, because it's not easy, to entrust your life and your personal life that someone will come and visit you in your house to come and carry out a job. Maybe the job will require him going into your bedroom or something. When nyane papa and some bebre, sa check a trade na wo UK ha na ye nya bi o Ghana no. Me de man kana me boa me say very 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 necessary. Dia pa nti obia try so be akohwehwe app no. The American say all what you got to do is that when anyone should ask you also what every Mansa Musa program, so that's all you got to say. That's all.
Discotech, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo.
Ojaye.
You are welcome to the show. Mansa Musa, fire will burn you. It's now 7:32 here in the UK. That is 6:32 in Ghana. My telephone number is for the studio. Someone is asking me, Mansa Musa, should I call your personal phone? Well, if you want to call now. You can call my personal phone. But because you have asked, I'm going to tell you. I will tell you the number for my studio. And the number for the studio is 0208-123-5911. The mobile is 07876-251-261. The mobile is also a WhatsApp. So all what you have to do is to add 44. So it's plus 44 7876 251 261. That's 44 7876 251 261. And the WhatsApp will come in straight away and we can talk. Sanet here. Na me say app bia Ghana phobia tiabroch omodia batch say app no wo pese obi koye adwuma bi ma wo fie wo dan wasase so bibia no sabe wo hia ni papa na wi kroma ehu you can hire will be say friend check a trade ni just say wo kosa app no so a nipa na e be recommend the amount no sa nipa no omonya police clearance just omonte omonya wifo omonya robbers obi ho ye plumber e kroma you can have say wo frɛ plumber bi fi check a trader utumi jadan no man e man se bi akoye wo plumbing e wo kitchen na wo bathroom utumi jai dan no man o wi a beto pono no no wako on fa hwe because the background checks ni ade nyina no no bi ene yenya wa Ghana me say e simple ejumapa.com amuna sponsor Mansa Musa yemfa 1 or 2 sound bites, just 1 or 2 sound bites na yenko yenim.
For an African to visit a European nation, an ordinary African to visit a European nation is like, let me give you an example my teacher used to use. It's like trying to milk an elephant because of the visa process. However, for a European to visit an African nation, most of our nations, it is like a walk on the beach. It's like going to have a cup of tea. But then that is not the problem. The tragedy is that now for an African to visit a fellow African within the African Union, the visa restrictions in many of our nations, among us, between our brothers and sisters, is like trying to brush the teeth of a crocodile. They came, divided us, and they have taught us to keep each other from each other. Them, they're mingling with each other and making money and growing, but they have taught us to hate each other. But for us to really enjoy the true economic benefits of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we need to behave like the Europeans and allow for the free movement of people and trade. To this end, in our contribution to this continental aspiration, Kenya is committed to progressively, and we are moving very fast by the end of this year, to abolish visas to citizens from African Union member states to make it easier to invest and do business in Kenya and across the continent. We are going to open the borders of Kenya. We do not fear our fellow Africans. Come, travel to Kenya, live, do business in Kenya, trade, make money in Kenya. And we hope we'll get reciprocity with the rest of you. Let us open our continent so that we can make money and live together. Let us remove the shackles of colonialism that are still embedded in our heads and be able to move forward.
Right, so, if you are listening to me and I speak Akan language and you don't understand, kindly call to let me know, or you can go to Facebook or YouTube and make your complaint. Sometimes I will mix it with our Ghanaian language, but basically it's all about what is happening, especially in the west coast of Africa. I remember, you see, I don't believe in some of these things, but sometimes, people can make some predictions, and that prediction can come through. You see, I'm not going to say God spoke to somebody and somebody, I don't believe in that. But to be fair to Archbishop Duncan Williams of Ghana, I will try and see if I can get the recording of what he predicted not long ago. I think it was in 2019 when he said, the wind that is blowing the left side is the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring, the wind that is blowing very soon, the whole of the West Africa area will be engulfed with, engulfed by such wind of a greater magnitude, and it will engulf everybody, because the youth in West Africa will, become, they've already lost hope, and when they don't know where to turn or what to do, then power will be wrestled from the old generation, and they'll put matters into their own hands. I'll try and see if I can get the clip, but well and truly what he said has come to pass, that today, coup after coup after coup after coup. Me, Mansa Musa, they make us a look. You can all say it's very fashionable for the middle class to pretend as though, can't say coup, that's what you got to say. Coup is not good. Coup doesn't bring anything. Hey, my brother, I will tell you what. You see, what coup brings, even though after a while the coup makers will also become corrupt or whatever it is, what the coup brings is the awareness, especially when the people running the country are actually not running the country in the interests of the people. The coup brings awareness, that fear of God that it brings into the minds or in the psyche of people. It said that vengeance, that we suspect this and that and that. We suspect that you have siphoned some monies, you have embezzled some monies, you have been corrupt, so you need to be punished, all that sort of thing. It shakes up the system. You to shake it up, then changes will have to happen. So as for this, the space, we can't go devoid of coup. We cannot say it should never happen. You see? Because for what it's worth, I'm reading some historical facts. This Ali Bongo guy who is now running the country, who has been deposed in Gabon. Gabon, of all places, when I was a kid studying elementary school, we were made to believe that Gabon was a state somewhere that is really beautiful, stable, and that, they had oil. Even in the 70s, they had oil and everything is there. People were happy, and, life was relatively better than most African countries. You see, that's what we're made to believe. Until we grew up, until I became aware of the realities of everything everywhere, to realize that even Gabon, there's a lot of despondency, a lot of dissatisfaction about everything in that country. You see? So today, after these young soldiers have just taken power into their hands now, the civilians are jubilating. Otherwise, they just had an election. If people in Gabon, if the Gabonese, these Gabon people, if they were really happy with their democracy, if they felt or they thought that democracy was, doing good by them, democracy was bringing something tangible, of course they wouldn't follow these soldiers. They won't be chasing, and shouting and dancing. So we have to be very mindful, trying to dismiss the notion that, it is nice for, like I said, the middle class to say, oh, coup is no good, coup, and just say, and democracy is far better, and blah, 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 blah. When democracy isn't better, is when we have to wait for another 5 years for people to, mismanage, misdirect, for people to embezzle, to corrupt, to take everything for themselves. Another 5 years. No. So sometimes the shake-up of the system, okay, thank you. The shake-up of the system is very necessary. Let's go for another soundbite of the African interest.
Small, intellectually, politically, and economically insignificant Africa. But is that really true? Now, here are the facts. Africa has a total area space larger than all of Europe, China, and the United States of America combined. Yes, it is 3 times the area of China, 3 times the area of Europe, 3 times the area of United States of America, meaning you can transplant China, Europe, and United States, and several other countries on the Africa continent and they will fit neatly. Africa is 30.5 million square kilometers and a youthful population of 1.3 billion inhabitants. China is 9.6 million square kilometers and 1.4 billion inhabitants. India has a total space of 3.3 million square kilometers and 1.4 billion inhabitants. Now, yet, Africa is projected as overpopulated, and pressure mounts on Africans and their leaders to depopulate. Why? Why? Now, please note, Africa is home to 60% of the world's arable land, 90% of raw material reserve, 40% of gold reserve, 33% of diamond reserve, 95% of platinum reserve, and holds the largest bauxite reserves in the world. Of course, in addition to manganese, woods, uranium, crude oil, and others. Yet, the continent is touted as the poverty capital of the world and ripe for depopulation. The question is, why? Well, President Jacques Chirac of France provides an illuminating insight. He said, "We bled Africa for 4.5 centuries. We looted their raw materials, then we told lies that the Africans are good for nothing. In the name of religion, we destroyed their culture. And after being made rich at their expense, we now steal their brains through miseducation and propaganda to prevent them from enacting black retribution against us," unquote. Well, put simply, for over 4 centuries, Africa is not in control of its resources. Look, a 2016 study of Africa by the NGO called War on Want reveals that 101 companies, mostly British, control $305 billion worth of platinum, $276 billion worth of oil, and $216 billion worth of coal at 2016 market prices. Yes, they own mines or mineral licenses in 37 African countries and control vast swaths of Africa's land, 4 times the size of the United Kingdom. Now look, Africa subsidizes the rest of the world by $32 billion annually. A 2017 report by Global Justice Now and other groups estimates that $161.6 billion enter into Africa, while $202.9 billion leave Africa almost every year. For example, in 2017, Africa received a total of $19.7 billion in aid, but paid back $18 billion in debt repayments. Debt burden is killing Africa. African governments have borrowed between 25 and 75% of their GDP, but with little or nothing to show for it. Africans in the diasporas remit not less than $32 billion annually, but multinational companies siphon $32.4 billion in profits and illicit financial outflows. Look, an estimated $29 billion are stolen via illegal logging, fishing, and poaching annually. How can any continent, country, or people accumulate and sustain wealth, growth, and prosperity with such statistics? That's a great question. Well, look, hopefully, now you know your Africa better. Edmond Mbiaka once wrote, "Peace of mind always comes with knowing who you truly are, where you currently stand, where you positively need to be, and strongly believing in its possibility." Africa needs to control its resources, no doubt. For productive, patriotic, and effective leadership, we need our best and ablest citizens with fortified character in local, state, and federal governments. This must be given utmost consideration in upcoming elections across Africa. Let me say it once more. Our problem is not the age of our leaders, but unfortified character. It is your responsibility to protect and defend your Africa. The starting point is to educate and transform the mindset of our leaders and peoples. Look, the least you can do is to assist with ensuring that this message reaches every African. Slavery destroyed us. Religion divided us. Ignorance controls us. And truth scares us. With these retrogressive forces, Africa will remain a dark continent. So we must renew our minds. Please share this video in support of my efforts at reconstructing Africa through mindset transformation. You see, together, we will reconstruct Africa and take charge of our destiny. For who controls Africa controls the world. I thank you.
We also thank you very much indeed. You are listening to Mansa Musa. The program is Fire Obey You. And tonight, Wednesday, the 30th of August, we are devoting a little bit of time to digest, to discuss, to find out why there are now upsurge in coup d'etats, especially among the French-speaking countries in West Africa. Why is it happening, and why now? After all, immediately after the independence of many African states, late 50s and early 60s, many on the African continent have gone through a number of upheavals, number of takeovers and coups, military assassinations here and there. And we thought that for the past 20, 30 years or so, that realization, that enlightenment has dawned on all Africans, especially those in the west coast of Africa, have decided to embrace the Westminster, the what do we call the Washington type of democracy, the multi-party system type of democracy or democratic governance, where people of sound brains and minds, of different intellectual abilities will gather to form political parties to vie for power. And depending on how you talk your way through the audience, that's the citizens, then the citizens will decide to give you power. That's the simplest way to explain that. You form your political party, you go to talk to the citizens, talk to the masses. When they trust you, then they'll give you power. But in Africa, it isn't that simple. In Africa, in our part of the world, it isn't that simple at all. First and foremost, we, despite the skin being the same color, we are not homogeneous. We are not, how do I say, one people as such. We are very different in terms of, not in terms of the overall or the general or the common outlook to life or to existence, but in terms of our culture and traditions. A lot of differences exist. And so let's take the tribal factor. In many of our African countries, you can count not less than maybe 20 major traditions or major cultures or major tribes or ethnic groups in one particular country. 10 or 15 major ethnic groupings in one particular African countries. And these ethnic groupings, even though they may seem like the same people, they dress the same or, have the same skin color and the rest, the culture, the language especially. The language differs from one ethnic group to another or to the other. So in African politics, it isn't that simple. It isn't that, the textbook simplified understanding of how governance or government should be formed, how politics should come about. Otherwise, democracy really is very simple. It's simplified. Form a political party, go and campaign, go and propagate, tell the citizens what you want to do for them, how you want to better their living standards or their lives, and if and when they like you, they will vote for you. It's as simple as that. Apart from the tribal considerations and everything else, another issue, serious one, is that of the archaic sensibilities of our people as well. Very much archaic. Do you know how, mommy, 1 second? You see, all over across the globe, everywhere on this planet, everywhere you go, you find people, or as human beings, the way God made us, it is easier for us to do the wrong thing. It is always easier to mess things up. That is why we have rules and we have regulations, we have the laws. So even the Almighty himself has his own rules. Every religion you can think about have the rules, have the laws. Don't do this, don't do that. Some will say, if you do that, you'll be punished in heaven or in hell or this. They are all rules and regulations that we've got to follow. But in Africa, we find it very difficult to regulate ourselves, to rule ourselves on laws or with the law. We cannot simply not do it. And so apart from the tribal sentiment, the tribal differences, there comes the serious issue of, acute wickedness. And I'm talking about corruption. The selfish attitude of one man, one person wanting to take everything, wanting to take the maximum. The rest can go to hell. Let me answer this phone call. I'll be back.
Sydney Discotheque, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo.
Okay, what? Ojaye! spirit, the jam is calling.
Cecilia Abnadapa, well done. Well done. I thought you were a woman and a mother who had compassion. They said, give a position to a woman and she'll do far better than a man. But these days, what do we see? It's sad. It's disheartening. Year in, year out, flood affects people in Accra. The Odo River gets flooded. Lives are destroyed. Properties are destroyed. You said you used $43 million to clean the Odo River. Have you seen what $43 million could do in Dubai, or in Europe, or in America? Shame unto you. It's so sad. It's so disheartening. We live in this country, people cannot even afford 1 meal a day. And some people out there who have very little are trying everything possible to reach out to those who don't have any. But you, the politicians, all you think about is grabbing. You have only one child, I was told. You have only one child, and you are grabbing all these properties for only one child. How about those kids in our front plains, those kids at the north, those kids in the Volta region somewhere, those kids in remote villages in Ashanti region, in Central region, in every part of Ghana? Look, there was a kid I met in Sogakope. They are so poor that there are 3 siblings. Every morning, their meal is yesterday banku with raw pepper, no tomatoes, just pepper and salt, with no fish. The day I asked my mother to give them soup, it was like, you are bringing kids from the war zone who haven't eaten for a year. When they saw soup in a plate that day, oh, politicians are wicked in this country. You people cannot even afford to go to hospitals. I have a little charity. My colleagues from work and my friends, they help me with their little income, and we reach out to people in the remote parts of the Volta region. They have nothing, absolutely nothing to eat. You guys are just there amassing Ghana's wealth, misusing donors' funds. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? And today's Sunday, July 23rd, 2023, I believe most of you are in your churches praising God, thanking God for bringing Ghana down. Aren't you ashamed of yourselves? It's so disheartening what you people are doing to Ghana. It's so sickening what you people are doing to Ghana. I go to the villages and I see kids.
NFM Radio.
Who do not have anything to do. Who do not have
NFM
anything
Radio.
to do. There are people
Minia, see fire will burn you. I want NFM Radio. Jumedia Mansa Musa Ede Bro. And you are the company and run on song. A companion. Listen to Fire Will Burn You on NFM Radio with Mansa Musa, Monday to Saturday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Right. Welcome. If you've just joined, I tell you what, you haven't missed much at all. I've just started with my rant and my monologue. Minkwana na mekasa. And as I say, very luckily, we had a German in Accra, in Ghana, in Kumasi, somewhere in Ghana. Why join here? Mr. Odike, I join here. The reason Odike join here, me then is later, remember Odike task be say, or we share Bishop Duncan Williams number and for mommy, because me war a friend is saying tape beer and as a discussion beer. Say Ajima Duncan Williams or ne Paul Adumochri. They had that interview and I say Omudi Sankomono some time ago. And Duncan Williams predicted made the mean say a prophecy, a prediction. Because after predictions, anyone what you don't know the trend. You look at what is going on, you can predict. But at least to be fair to him, he predicted what was obvious, what was right. Say, and Framana Ebono, you saw, say the wind is blowing in, is coming. If we don't do something, the youth, when they've had enough, and hell breaks loose, is going to be very dangerous because Duncan Williams said the youth, for them, they have or they had nothing to lose. He used example that look, they don't have big houses. Some of them are not married. They don't have responsibilities. They don't have children. They don't have a nice, big cars, that sort of thing. So, Duncan Williams can say and then Framano no kreni buboba. Na adia mama friend Odike so a me depa se Odike so ba meni agino. And he say Odike enche bia nan say mi krampo na me. Okay, thank you. Na me hu kakra. Odike kan tum o say hey and your my koso pa de. Say me cool ba me support. I will support if there was a coup. That's what Odike said. And so we share the economy. Many people look. Me last time can be say, oh, it is always very nice. It is all very, it is the right thing to say. Say, oh, coup is not. It's not the right thing. Coup is not the right thing to do. And he say that. You see, a year middle class forecast, but say the eti eshe ahwemu. They say ostrich and no markets here no. Now you to because so we share the course of French speaking countries anymore. Utu say cool no and say and candial from 60s, 70s, 80s. By next time come kunipa by 50. There be. Ese wona ya to abama o man na igbo. Sorry fi ho na ehihye ne foforo. And a man for di echiro mo bose. Enti we ya ye wo echire na ye titi echire no. Armchair judges no. Ye bedun aka say ade we enye o na ku nye o na ku yo. Ebe. Obi atena 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Or see me sa betra another 5 years. Now what would him say? The echo no an echo. It is a ballot box name to me Francis I am badia. And ye trouble ye, and also the bonnie say, Odike, Aquaba.
Yeah.
Asama making, one okay, what's the dear, a BCA, over support. One can say BCA, open. Number also say BCA, over we have to qualify that. Say, no, I had to say, a boba.
Yes, men I'm kind of now. Because I am a choice. I am a consider a personal choice. If it is say abroad better that is a partisan democracy. You never ma Africa for a year. Not partisan democracy, no. You got Waba, Emma last election, Nippon, Anna, a Kufado, election, or Pemaria, a Nippon, the two account. Se Niger foye coup no bien Gabon foye coup no bien I care champion coup no bien I never said no back and say no. Said the kind of moment we are manisika. Politicians, our medio man will no so say. So Janiba and yet. I saw that from Omo. So to an anya, we know about more I say, yeah, Babacho. Ubetian will be can SSS and IMP. Now, go for by SSS, what the Abakan and Mubet Makai. A month for a no target. Our Kufa Mubet Makai. Master, a month for no target. Our Mahama Mubet Makai. A month for no target. Our Ajakunku for Mubet Makai. A month for no target. SSS, a call Muso Mubet Makai. Anybody Democrats say practice no. Omanya SSS square church soldier for the Obia from Rolling Stone basin neck. A memo papa bia magana ho. Na mo mo broche mi tibi ho ya pa. A mo be go broche mo ya partisanship. Say ka mo ba be sua bibi dia be boa Ghana man no. Obia GNDC MPP atade ni ase. O kasa radio so no teche no didi watem. But how are you wo Ghana no? O ti abroche. Eno MPP for primaries. A mo so mo ye. Enipa ete so mo free diaspora so mo free diaspora ba no. O mo be jeje bribe $5,000 near the ade so we never talk about Umia. They are forcing somebody. Our part of the problem. Aye, woman. Woman, Jomutsika Gumbotom. Air force say fa send pardon emetna Ghana force. Him for our more Ghana do na. How many politicians edit wo mu bribe we are. No more bo drama woman. No we full well. So kwa nam so ba no. It is undemocratic. We can democracy. You bribe any about them. You can say you the proper democracy, a civilized democracy. We don't induce people's your friends a verdict. Adia ye no enya papa. But Ghana for do not sinkete say. Yankata any say what is democracy? Democracy a mass government. And that a government by the few. For the few and the few benefit. You call this democracy? A tampon, infrastructure by an organ, a democratic government by an IBCs here. A tampon by a kua or diadiano. And surely Kwayan said that. Yeah, our environment was intact. Yes, here democracy. Look at the mess. Our constitution, and I don't know, Papa Biabetra video to say. We're a doctor. Now, the constitution is not the problem, but the people. Culture is our born because constitution and the order the steps of the people. Constitution and the guiding principles of the people. Or maybe I was democracy now and Yaman Koyeno. The attorney said the constitution was ill promulgated. And added UK system now fix my mind. And if he and then Yama be won't be in UK. In any case, catch us out for some say they are functional illiteracy. Almost but it doesn't back by common sense. We are giving on your results. How can we and name my way? Yadi human interface. Say, we need people who create systems that works. The constitution, it is not helping us.
NFM Radio.
And why all the African countries, you box democracy from Abrofukum. I don't want to go so. Now, the rationale behind a new form of colonization, I afraid of neo-colonialism. If you study the architectural structure of our constitution, Mansa Musa, Ubehu said, a lack leadership structures. Your constitution, it gives you so much room for discretionary powers. Your constitution too much. It will be able to they are not training a human being. I don't know, or they are
my main brebuka crow. Almost cast a look. Constitution a crata, ye nipan ye troy. Na a binu bebre and the abeye juma. Despite said the same and woman and almost buy no. Sa excesses are air costly and muscle. Now almost so saying what argument is say. The whole world and this me for us to say the whole world constitution be anywhere here watertight and now airtight. And yet be say where the would see Hanaka was it debi. Constitution be a more flexibility. Nemo say we the papa so move boom mine because ye robots ye nipa. We nipa mo de adwen pa e boom mine no. Say utumi dada wo cabinet wo de ba parliament ana senator ebe paw efidie ne be paw say hosu failure wo de ko the judiciary ebe paw afọ the media ne de ebe pipaw sa enti se nipa ne ni papa constitution no enisi ya gbido 1-2 bi person obi si obi si mesisa ex gratia ne ade ade de fine na say ye be ye de dwiri bi say enu nti na ma ye bre no sa say ye de anu so to ya adwen mu a me question person busa say ye de sa to ya adwen na che say omo mu didi bone no ye ma omo excuse ye ma omo reason enam say constitution nti no mu di bone enso nipa no bone no mu di no enye constitution nti a ye omo mu nsem money ono mo abokuo
edi
me tie u
edi yen twen consider be dia wo ka no if it's anything to go by because Rollins democratic rule no amanfo amfana honkron so culture of impunity partisanship any ceremony na akoso ajekum kufo the same thing yewra tamels ebreso ebi koso but the pedigree you all cap pedigree but I'm telling you say in as much as Santo Kunda so the opportunity amanofo ebe faso ede aye no ede beye and all kind the measure of the excesses but me so me hu ne say eno enye every na edi enya because we can create and tighten the excesses no chances are for example the president appointed past 7,000. Our constitution, do you know what it means? President, the parliament, the ministers. The parliament now say we better the parliament, president are packing in the pego. Oko judiciary or a constitution man kwama ne promote 2 judges. As are appointed judges, as are appointed Supreme Court Chief Justice. Babia ometimi I hold the president accountable. No. Constitution is a man kwama ne nkrofo koguo. How can we me person me kire say wo see constitution ne ma ho kwan e ma odi nkrofo koguo. The same constitution kwa America ne ade a e ma ho kwan ma president no de ne nkrofo e kogu baby. But so hwe nsebo e koso se currently sa judges ne top officials na 24 judge for kesia Trump na recruit omo no omo bi eka ho enende ye prosecute no enti na ye nipa no su ene ne ban president ne Crawford akọ but the Crawford no so omo ye professional to their work say omo bomo adwuma yi me ba the omunya every party me ba Ghana initial submission may say ya box so abrofo dia yene yentiase because democracy a template. Yes. Oka chem say America for adwene yemfa me yaduma Ghana enya no kre because America for culture any umu esuno mu ban no any Ghana for the the environment yenyina ye free no enya the same if you don't expect say what the America for share ebe yaduma Ghana amwenya result. It's not true.
Odike medical miss medical say constitution be anywhere say ye water tight or air tight. The point is that you whether me bow say president this is an nkrofo a enunti na parliament wo ho say oh monkwa na monfa mon krata eni munimi de enko kire parliament parliament edu baby na che say mu ache anka parliament ni betumi a stop ebinimu ni ebinimu eje say constitution book and the better book no da ho na say hey book nti no and I'm me my ye. Parliament no to me stop sa judges in the idea omunyina stop omo. Enti eje book no na be mani pa na ye na adwuma ye o. Me kase be yes sa constitution. But dia wo dia argument ni say wo koso akwai say enunti na ye bre enye enuntia
eno a obiaka to say no oboa
okay
de enye etesa no say yesu ni aban no eni said ye environment city no eno no constitution o say ye ye ni kwa say ye carbon copy said am sorry America for ye and the UK ni America kwa no wo mo face leadership crisis and the UK want to tell me change prime minister and want to tell me the world is evolving
okay and the fan say ya wo kan betias ya me Mansa Musa mama make me point
allow me to flow
to boss me more flow tie dia meti was here this year se bia yesisa constitution you know na enkekoye say okay sadia wo si yemfa ye culture fine ye culture ye hwehwe anim kakra enti constitution dey say we a president who free here se nipa a judge 6 na ana 8 ana 10 na be appoint ya e say 5 every party and 5 every another party em say ye dey no so share constitution mu a e ho no me ka dey abo wo ka say ye depending on our culture no see any say
model yeah model. Yes, say the judiciary must be independent. The executive must be independent, and the parliament must be independent. The legislature. Now, constitution kwana sama president, executive no kwine. You will be a friend separation of powers.
Yes.
Any checks and balances. It is a president, a free independent arena no. Equal parliament, equal ministers are. They defeat separation of powers. They are taught to me as also defeat checks and balances. And now your constitution and my president to me manibora the other 2 arms of government. And nothing I have because separation of powers here and a checks and balances and no problem. Parliament, yeah, time. MPP for Eboa support ma umu approve loan. No must have a press conference say Mahama or Gilon Dodo. It got to a point, Mama Busomo said, na most of the Gilon Dodo no loan agreement about parliament and Yamana support Mama support Belema Gilon. You see, the people are 1.2 ministers or parliament, 50% of the ministers. What it means in a Parliament, a nipa or appoint to Muso ministers. Omunina the beck and call of the president. It's the president required the impeachment of the president. Or when you go for parliament, they will not agree. The American Mansa Musa, let us do the analysis, the discussions, to the situation in Ghana. Let us situate it to our current circumstance. And the baby has some channel for the uncle. The way a channel for any mama yourself is different from UK, but they are getting results. The man can say the UK and America fire no the best practice. No. Uko Singapore is different. Uko Malaysia is different. Arab Spring almost different.
Selection of judges. Selection of judges. Yajatun. Selection of judges, for instance. Dear now bet me and Sawo home. Emma and no ebe reflected their opus or deba. Dear now person.
Yes. The person say. I was say creating electoral college Emma judicial service. What it means in this say, your justices are you be mubakon. Amna babe IGP. Abe Chief Justice. I was say ma judges now kwamumu poaba. Eyi ba kwa on the represent as Chief Justice and your president. When we are able to do that, what it means is that judicial not detach from the executive. Their independence is intact. But the moment the president Bebwa a judicial service the head as I could promote 2 judges in they think say also mo tilted woman alienation towards the government. Ekobasa a justice system no in favor the masses. And you know, we need to create a model. Election, we need selection, election, so that every judge begin a year, so chief justice the beer, over conduct very well in the judicial service, so that a group of ministers compare chief justice and I will pay promotion on second. But says no, the Jama president Oba. President Weba, or packing in the Pakogu judicial service. You're not training or the Yansa as a moment may be a free bar, say friend people never near Senate MPP, pro MPP charges. Near Roma Cotton. No, my Senate Trocan. A month for a soon about a justice delivery in this country. Police and a damn party almost say you're quite saying of MPP for say. What you fair? I was saying of it. IGP no, a good for change no. And just at 2024 election no, or more mumu yabem. Now officers say as approach for now and the Tuaba IGP. We're independent. MPP for bet Macas. You see, Mumma yes, MD would like ostrich. Yane, your situation here, and I'm a cuckoo, a Kosovo. Because
this is the third or fourth time me say booklet be anywhere even nyami booklet watch chair who find the Quran who find Buddhist for there who find the Bible flexibility a womb. The point in is say the awoka say president no in Crawford the point is that Embra a year with the by police first case ya bay Embra what I say and by now as institutions by now says our police for now you see interdiction but this is actually almost insane if you share some finch and you serious are you treason there tape no here say no crash of cancer Obika is a civil matters, a scandal. Where they treason with the bar among yourself. It doesn't need a change of constitutional. The point is that is the problem.
No, you have given too much powers to the president. Okay. It's when the president is abusing the powers. And on a trunk.
Case way, particular case way. Chirame abuse our president and abuse this particular case. This police a friend audio tape no. Chirame dia
audio tape no. And your president me say almost say call a by election no. IGP no ama a quine ama woman because women are at this security call.
Yes.
Now security no war impact our elections because security near polos wa basaba sesiwa na incumbent na fa ho.
Yes.
That's how no more ever conso. Women do metro men akogo. It is a place for near reluctant kakra bia no more for na take over no more stop for ballot box.
Sure.
It is a IGP no any woman side there. The probability so much more stop for ballot box no low. What I'm saying is look Mansa Musa, if we have philosophy about nipa na Troy, socialism, communism, some many person because and they give way to new. Don't tell me say if you say and say bien wa and tokoni them. And tokoni bar, you find a way to seal them. You future.
Okay.
And constitution is a living document. I repeat. A constitution is a living document. It grows with time. It's the more a miracle. Now you feel baby and took 1 year. Constitution we buy not cassette crane, let alone we have technological advancement. Baby, as ya, constitution we now.
Sub case we me say where your case study. Mr. Dawson, 1 second. You know how my you have also a bumbi. Odika mami busa obi me say. Sa police audio leaky. Chireme constitution no ne mfom so was our case because sa constitution so mamra say Emma constitution man kwan say by now arrest you obi seriously adan
listen to me.
Okay.
Me TV no mkoye.
Yes.
Say ono na MPP chairman.
Yes.
Eti ya be fa no so.
Yes.
Na yama president ati say Dampare will not help them to win the 2024 election.
Yes.
Ena papa no record here.
Yes.
Right. Sa nkofo na omo ekokasa audio no mo ya press for. It is perceived so omo MPP for. That is the more reason why NCU woman. A partisanship. And the president can be reluctant.
We need to agree to the who say a partisanship? Okay.
Allow me now. Where's our category? It doesn't make the discussions quality. You have quality discussions. We have from Watting, Edgar, I'm saying, issue control president in him. The people involved in the bush for one taking any drastic action on it. What I'm saying is, Saka president independent, and I won't share a binasia. Kafre Bob what confirm come president. Kwadiboko come police administration straight. Sanko way air way. But and some make my investigation. I just a co-president in why? Why should this be?
No. To boss mommy. Constitution in Chile say. Answer the police for me to take on this case, except president should say so. That's not what the constitution say. The point I made, we need to try to tighten things up. But one example, the test case was the same. Now, I did bar out agree say this is treason. The constitution if I can for treason. Constitution because of MP before. Debbie, constitution.
There's a constitution. Our constitution. And you must show my yentimin take action. And your constitution, Papa.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, my you bet my throne many fine. Our constitution.
Yes.
But it's a constitutional and sign and senior maybe who and senior maybe so far. It will be there in theory. But in practice, it is never so. And constitution is meant to take action. It will be a constitutional, a can do and take action. It's a wrong.
This is the third time. Constitution, we know, dear na constitution, no, stop the authorities from taking action against these treasonous action and crofo and he found a constitution
constitution the call baby many constitution in your adwene etimima saa ne ma no yeti
o microphone
constitution no the moment ebema kwama wa appoint IGP no prosecution action bi omo ye no omo behwe omo pay masters and he who feeds you controls your mind. And it does not. Wouldn't I give before I can procedure on leave?
Look,
do you know how many?
Said president ain't to me nominated prisoner. Police are ebema and your my ye kakra. But say na kasan no me say constitution na wo no boni na microphone no. E see a twi omoaso. Adan na yan twi omoaso. Enye constitution default.
Because anybody also take action. When we have mama masters, it is a who Mansa Musa, what land and as I say, a DNT and conforming to take action. Jaland one out never take action. Free landing, Jawad man never take action. Those who are responsible to take the action, Omo are taking sides because of partisanship. It is a who say, and you move forward now, constitution in area. Mansa Musa, okay, you are not quite a printed to know about was the constitution. I was here prosecutor, Madame Monye, and I was always out landing Bima. You see, Mama Yan be a bull like ostrich. We are constitution. Mami usu asem ba ko pe. Nepotism na wo ka ho asem no. Discretionary powers are our constitution and a mumu kwa mumu yesa. It na make sure say ye leadership structures. I repeat, leadership structures. Constitution ma too much room for discretionary. It will not do open no choose no. It is our conform and for constitution is what choose any. But say institution representations bebre wom and woman any president ebe adwuma no. And your president no etumi no de ba appointing. And will be added the code of conduct and the ethics of the profession adwuma. I don't think but every maybe every 1992 be seen woman ma be nyina failure. It tells you said maybe to mami nyabotre allow me. Woman every 1992 ba woman nyina failure. Ebi a obeka say ebi bone na esuase ne bi. But bone bi no anya bone. And nipa bi abone wo no but obi ya bone a abrochire asam ne ba ya no ma fa kon betua ntokuro no. Etu so wahwa mo abrochire no connections ala kan ne mutimi ye nyina no abrochefo asabi Ghana fo amakọ no eno ma ye mra bi atutua ntokuro ni nyina. That is review amane kalabula bi na abrochefo timi ye convention. Yes. Masa. Oh, TMA. One word to crowd. TMA. One word to crowd. One word to become a review. No. As this. Oh, yes. Oh, please. Mansa Musa, we need to make a nyabotre mami. Emrano. That done so many is. Eba kanwa assassin. Assassin is suban. Or any addition. Oh. Any addition. The Baba camera no. Assassin is suban. I want to see no. I want to make dragon. UK, there be only the additions and subtractions to shape the mindset of the people. It there be almost a big count. Not as a and Shana na order done. Not at the titanium.
So be a failure, mistake, and I say it's because of the constitution. So be a bokronwa is because of constitution. And when I make
because I akwanya no JJ Rollins enyama wo ye ebra no amamum no and no similarities to Akufo Adidi mu. Though Akufo Adidi no ebe pedigree no be koso.
Mama example.
Yeah, Rollins time. Rollins time. No corruption. Oh.
What say? Me bow, what pa say? And Rollins now did the Air Force flight, you know, and your baby ching, and the Wako Bobus, and all Bocati says 10,000, I say for Satamukra, 5,000, $5,000, and I'm Crofoka na ontie, and a Rollins, me bow, Rollins will be adding in Mianumbi, or Diomo Begua Bainimu, or Momo post, and will be a car ontie, and an Emano. A formal group be my sister's keepers and Obiaka won't ye. I mean, oh yeah. So Obi a failure, young Casa will fail, and this say a man is
Mansa Musa, you are not helping the program because me see all the success of previous government Oma Benoma fail Ghana.
Yes.
But
because of the constitution.
Obia Feligana.
Yes.
Obia Emuya way no. Ebidia Susinibi. But the trend in it to us. Say Sianua. The Obeba Baba worse than a Kufa do.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully. Say Sianua.
Yeah, because what time you become a brain, you answer Maccabi.
I would have made him Manusi, Manusi Waba. Manusi, what 1 minute, Manusi. If you are not runners, a Mumuya and never form. Knock of 4 years to send runners Kakra. If you are not Tames, the answer saying, a Yukum 4 year Kakra. I say, if you are not your mamma, the answer saying, a Yukum 4 year Kakra. And I beg you, maybe a Kufado, a man a Kakra. What should I say? 2 minutes, the man bet with your head, you pay. But you say power corrupts. Too much power corrupts, absolutely. The American, I was so tears and where I am coming from. And yes, I know baby. Now, much I say, independent Subaya. Opiano, I won't know who Subayon. But society, no, and a mountain Subay, any baby, I have a father says so. And no, Miamano media, my son, Mrs. Who knows you. Dawson, Abois.
Yes, Mansa Musa.
Then I also can find. And that program in particular, no, and from a ball West Africa, no, and no, per se. I mean, I know who come on here, but it is related to what we are discussing, say in Ghana, no, and somewhere, of course, we just say, I'm saying Ghana for now, I just say, yeah, bread some way, be, yeah, bread. And you know, maybe it won't happen. Or you get your second bank on there or best support too. But in general, what do you want to say with regards to your argument and your debate, you know? Me side in the media. I don't want to give any you can't say excuse to Obia why OD Bonnet. Oh, constitution, it is a constitution, no can depend obey papa. I wouldn't say that. But any bit with your woman. The also can there's some iota in it. Iota of some substance in it. But also no, dear now,
first of all, Medasi is a woman queen, Miss McKebby. Democracy way. Democracy is an experimental method of achieving fair governance amongst a country. Well, say as Africans in Angasano, we had a different system of governance.
Yes.
Democracy no ye inherit here.
Yes.
The danger with inheriting things is if you go and inherit something. Now what to would the end papa na e wo hon etugua, you run at a risk of finding yourself in nowhere. And most especially when Nipakrona will be introducing democracy or so you see democracy as a tool to continue exploiting you. Let us take a scenario from China. One good thing about the Chinese or the Asians is as much as they embrace democracy, one systems when what they did was they put democracy and their system side by side and created a hybrid. And that is the reason why you will not get the US or Great Britain exploiting China. Because the Chinese are not going to play your game. With the different tactics in the to Africa, unfortunately for us, we have been so much divided as a people. And we have lost pride in our continent and in our various countries. We have lost focus. Ghana Ghanaians, if we will be honest with ourselves, as much as they be a sorry bomb pioneer tongues, I can see archangels no crampo and bidano. When you talk about the love for our nation, we don't have it.
To clarify some issues, my main say, more pictures, me so zoomy echo YouTube. And what is now with why shanty send me the noir. Making sure say why if it is me. All right. To also.
Inti Ghanaians per se, I quite remember time Miakola Pano. Ghanaians had a sense of pride in their nation. The leaders around that time, as imperfect as they were, they had a sense of pride for their nation. Let us look at the current crop of so-called leaders. They don't. Okay? One funny thing, your national pledge, the very first few lines says it all. I promise on my honor. You promise on your honor to be faithful and loyal. Let's ask this question. How many leaders, current leaders that we have in Ghana, qualify even these two words? How many of them? Bringing it to the constitutional case, it is the issue is from both sides. Constitutional is a framework. It is not perfect. It shall never be perfect. At the end of the day, America crampo almost started a democracy over 300 or so years crampo. But when you look at the development of a nation and achieving what is written in the Constitution now, it depends on the people. If the people are willing, the Constitution will bear fruit. If the people are not willing, the Constitution will wither and die. And that is the problem with Ghana. Yedua abano, sunyaya yen water. Yen ya dear say beyema, idiano a survive a bear fruit. There lies in the problem. And to back or declare some more kind. The Ghanaian constitution is a bit porous. It is a bit porous in the sense, say, it gives the president too much powers. The president can simply go into an area and cause mayhem. The president, which is the United States Constitution now, the powers of the president of the United States pretty much is to suggest, throw it out there. Then the various arms of governments, judiciary and everything, they will sort everything out and then they will all come together with a compromise. Then they will throw the compromise to the people. Then the people will say yay or nay. Taking the
NFM
police
Radio
or the judiciary, there should be no way the president should have that kind of influence on an IGP.
Thank you.
If the president, at the end of the day, has that kind of influence on an IGP, and I say the Chief Justice, one way or the other, no, we all have to sit down.
Yes.
And then look at this whole thing prospectively. Because at the moment, MYing, you are suffering, I am suffering. You are getting agitated, I am getting agitated. And if you get agitated and I get agitated now, at the end of the day, you're back home. Human nature.
Yes.
And that is what is happening in Africa.
Yes.
People have gotten to these, especially the Francophone speaking countries, they've gotten to the point that they have been exploited so much. And they know they've been exploited. But they expect to say, then suddenly you realize, it becomes even worse than initially exploitable. Then what happens is suddenly, there comes a reawakening of conscience. And that is what is happening in West Africa now. Right now, there is a wind blowing whereby it is going to charter a new course. Where it's going to lead, I don't know. Let us not be so full of ourselves to say it will change a lot. But at least if it changes something, it will be better than our situation. Because as much as the wind is blowing that way, we need to ask ourselves, those leaders who have taken on such a huge responsibility, will be able to be steadfast, like the way people like Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and the rest were able to stand on their feet. Lumumba, at the point of his death, did not bow because he knew posterity will judge him right. Kwame Nkrumah, the same. For me, I know what war can do. I have lived it. But all I am hoping is those new leaders bringing change, the much needed change within the continent, within the West African region now, will be able to sustain it. Because if they don't sustain it now, we will be at a greater loss. But it should be a lesson to Ghana. Yes, is a jato who are down for them, who neighbor them. Now I think what's in you is with you.
Yes.
The level of corruption and lawlessness and riots, coming too much.
Greece now. Cyprus for is your no munya vicrano one no.
I will talk about yourself. It's your show about yourself.
No. Listen, a Zoom no so me no akasa idea. Mami nkofo no so agina so ache. Ansa na maba Zoom no so Joseph Nkrumah ho. On the phone. Say Kinedward. Hello, Kinedward.
Me battery no low.
Why battery no low? Hello, Kinedward. 7177. Hello. Okay, here Zoom. Mr. Joseph Nkrumah.
Yeah, Mansa Musa.
Yanko.
Yeah, thank you very much, and a very good evening to you and senior comrades on the show. Mansa Musa, this discussion, and I'm very grateful that Mr. Odike is still holding on to this discussion, because I remember last time he was still holding on to this, and I kind of agreed with him to a certain extent. I think with regards to what Mr. Odike is saying and all this issue of president wielding too much power and all that, when we are having this discourse, we should be far-reaching in a little way, because probably something might have prompted our leaders, especially Professor Mills, into commissioning that body. They would look into the constitution for us. Until I feel say if Professor Mills, within that wisdom or one say onim there, the constitution has little one or two things that need to be tweaked and can set up a commission to look into the constitution. And in that respect, it is in admission there and part the constitution, especially with the executive, the executive wields too much powers, and we need to have a look at it, which is very true. In that sense, I agree with Mr. Odike 100%, and I agree with Mr. Dawson as well for what he said. But, and this is where the big but is, if we look at the democratic nations, especially the Americas, the UK, the Australia, the Canada, and all that now, I don't think what we are practicing, especially with the powers being held by our president, I don't think there's too much difference between us and the United States and the UK and all that. Because in much the same way, America, the president appoints ministers, UK, the prime minister appoints ministers, and all these kind of things. The issue we have as Ghanaians, and for that matter, if we want to broaden it, as Africans, I have said this, is the issue of integrity, because Mr. Odike was making an assertion. Look, the police institution has code of ethics or code of conduct or whatever. The problem is that the moment a president elects the IGP or selects or whatever, appoints an IGP, he goes there without his code of ethics. He goes there and becomes a political appointee. He goes there and becomes a poodle to the president.
Yes.
He has no balls. So in that regard, Mr. Odike and everybody, in that regard, I think it is to do with the integrity of the individual involved, not the constitution. Because look, I have given you job.
In this, you see, with that, in support of what you are saying, even with this same IGP, what we have heard in that leaked audio have shown that he doesn't want to follow that trend where he's becoming a poodle. It means he wants to follow the rules as laid down by what he's been told to do. I mean, he's a policeman, the police head, and he wants to do everything by the book. So it means the constitution, it's not moving down into a Kufado's side. You see, for me, my whole argument in the my whole argument in the I to say young Kolano, you could do some money, penny for they punish them more. Then they let us go free because and when the cancer for Mansa Musa do what you costing. Sassy say adults only. Now me cases in penny for no more even on the national level, Krano, Sabi. Akwala bi kura say ukofano na akwala no or your bar now or ye on the age now or ye no ho chenchire say oh no wanyi now ye mistake na ukofano na eche excuse no bia mwa say oh akwala na de no ho share woni adade ye beka say wo na ye penny. My problem is that the moment the more we go on hacking on the constitution, then somebody are all debonning, we are finding an excuse for them. Me, that is my only thing. Me nkase constitution. Me nkase constitution is so clean. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we are harping on it so much to give excuse to people who shouldn't get those excuse. That's all. Anyway, Joseph, say 1 minute. Joseph Newoso.
Brother, 1 minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Constitution, Emma, the president, the authority and the power to hire and fire. So I IGP. Now we are the Bina president. If he say, a bit man lose power. We are strictly by the ethics and the code of conduct of your profession. You point to what you say. President Kufuor was it go proceed on leave. Yeah, well, historical antecedent. South of Omuba, Omun for Munansi form because the boss met him a fire out anytime. So why not the back and call of president now? Sabino or fire one maybe no a back be amount.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Matthias,
Mr. DK, you see, Mr. DK, the issue is yes, I understand the president has the power to hire and fire, which is brilliant. Donald Trump had the power to hire and fire. But when it gets to the question of morality, when it gets to the question of standing up for your rights and defending the state, you saw his vice president saying, Mr. President, no, you've been taken out of power. I will not agree with you on this tangent. Then you begin to win the moral fiber of the argument. Because in a situation whereby we feel, say, Yemfan IGP, Yemfan says Cecilia Dapatemi, the investigations have gone on, and we've seen, say, Cecilia Dapa is guilty and needs to serve a jail term. And IGP goes on to say, I will put her behind bars. And President says no. And she said, look, the woman has stolen state money, and so she needs to be behind bars. And for that matter, because the Constitution gives the president the mandate to fire, or fire Dampare. But we would all see, morally, we would all see that Dampare was doing his job. Dampare has, and I'm coming. This is what will make all of us see, say, look, people are doing their job. Only that probably the Constitution, because of the too much power that has been pushed onto the president, Entina, the certain things are going this way. Then we can all join in that aspect of the debate. Say, look, yes, of course, President Mills had initiated the move, say, enter the Constitution. But for me, before we can look at even if we try to withdraw some of the powers of the president, people are not going into positions with integrity, with the mindset of safeguarding the state. We are doing a cost 90 work.
No.
Yes, of course, we are doing a cost 90
My memoir, look, Ghana, because of power, said them presidency. So we now defend our mind. You were there, watch and I to be on I was fighting for the environmental degradation of Ashanti region. Because I continue a true by my office. I am from Sienkume. And then a best in the Dampare as topo investigation. Yeah, Massa, should be a ban.
So
Dampare, what's up, maybe, yeah, on my knee. And Yama ya tese nianya resource no eno na ejina de yemra ye see IGP abako nyame IGP old ones be bremenamfo masema me come say na beboa because the president yi wo ni wo I am telling you.
Yeah, I know they are say Mr. Odike Metia say, but look, president select or more. I agree. We all agree. We all know
political party. Almost out free.
But you see,
almost out free. The same political party, president today, IGP free.
But you see, sometimes, Mr. Odike, young as people, yes, you can be because the same are working. When we say, Yemfa IGP as some point to change. Now, even assembly will create the assay. Assembly will create an assay. Minjin is a constitutional Emma Quine say, Bushia Penny and I say, assemblyman be a power be to do anything. We won't say assemblyman, and I Yakomu MP, and I Yakomu or Hene. Oh, wait there, Mr. Odike Bow. Oh, share Papa Police, wait there, so on. Young Swanka say, can be because and now we to some kids first would no cockatoo. They went to watch channel, my papa police are buying into one share. Now on him be a frank to my come, no, they are called police station. No, I call it and also a president in a
because
that is what I'm saying. Say, that is what I'm saying. Say, without us, first of all, knowing say we need to do things with integrity. We need to do things. Say at the end of the year, the work on mine comes first instead of rather than our personal interest and whatever. No, even say you withdraw president, your president even naked without any powers. Not say kasa because you're not yaking. So when we say me can be deal. When we say damn paraba affairs, they are not all men this for complaining. So we say NDC for complaining until so oko assign not maybe NDC for say a favor then they started
NDC for complaining. NDC for complaining. What they were doing, they said Dampare Eddie Pepe and a mama me babonte beka say on teaming for Pepe and yet man could do baby because baby are free banner. The way says here every anymore. It will get to a time when they will hit me in line. Sabran Edu. Yeah, trending a crash they are walking. A be an independent MPP in or Teokranasi. And a DC in so MPP ni. Also, the district security coordinator. DC in Abandon Beton. The security of the place in Ashton in some. It had a free form. Power now president in order. If reform now could do so, it did this, or
Okay, check internet.
Say Mansa Musa met me idea
Joe one words.
Yeah, for me, all I'm saying is for me, all I'm trying to say is and Barack Obama came to Ghana to make this statement, say, let us strengthen our institutions, which I still disagree with him. Because the institutions are manned by human beings. I feel we, the human beings, rather, as Ghanaians, we rather have to have a very high integrity to say, and Boris Johnson, he was ousted by his own MPs. Because the MPs know, say, look, this man is destroying the country. Until with their integrity, they ousted Boris Johnson. When we can see, say, it is Akufo-Addo, yes, he is my president, he is my MPP, whatever. But why Bonnie? And I say, this is an IGP, it is not about whether Akufo-Addo appointed him or Mahama appointed him. The fact is that if an NDC member is found to be foul of the law now, he allows the law to work. Same way if MPP man is also found guilty of the law, he allows the law to work. In that case, we can move forward. But say you reduce all the presidents and the powers, say yama integrity or do if I said now opinion about pledge the national anthem, what it enjoins us to do to safeguard the nation. Say near the parochial interest bar. Mansa Musa, you bet you be powers at the Ababebu studio, it will still not do anything. It will still not do anything. I think say that is the way to go. For me, that is my way. I feel yes, the president has a lot of powers, which I agree. I agree. Said the president, have too many powers, which to me I feel say you been film, but you be film because look, Mansa Musa, I want to finish on this note. Look, even if say Yama police for Kran say Yama the powers, someone you on IGP, police for now you on IGP, right? So the president can control that person. You can't tell me say that person or about too much powerful than the president. Even if your friend is saying National Council of State.
One word, we use one word: integrity, and working to the letter of the law. Because CFA say you just had 2 minutes free. President in Semukra Noa, Sir Commissioner for your secret recording criteria will say. they don't have integrity. So how will they even work properly? So the president in this one, will say the integrity is more important. And no, I will be seeing because we see one or two of the judges. 1 second, remember, judges are Trump, select your master nominate. They themselves they turn around now. They are accusing him of things because integrity and working to the letter of the law. And here, but having said that,
Mansa Musa.
Yes.
Mansa Musa.
Yes.
Law and order.
Mr. Odike, maybe just one word, Mansa Musa. Election petition court, no. Because of lack of this integrity, one of the judges had written a book. Now, when it came to delivering judgment, he went contrary to the book. Because of pudu to the president, only integrity. He went contrary to the very things he had written, taking so many years to write in the book. This is what we are talking about.
Integrity, yeah. Odike,
Mansa Musa. Integrity.
1 second, Odike. Where you inquire, no nanka, Mr. Dawson, person count one, be manning can we na me maumbrem. Mr. Dawson.
Mansa Zamedasi, the previous speaker, no, like I say, okay, something about your friends, the vice president of the United States now, dear, bar out beach now, Kasai, now, let me say this. It looks like
NFM
we
Radio.
are losing sight of one thing. Pillar. And I'll come back to the friends, a key word the previous speaker used here. Say, yes, ya brosan. Na ye the pillars no edisisi hwa. Later on, what do? We test for structural integrity of that pillar. Meboa. Let's bring it into governance and with the way our various institutions work. And let's ask ourselves, what level of integrity have these institutions built on their own? Somebody should name one Ghanaian institution to me build that. We've never been able to build that.
Why is that? Is it lack of commitment, lack of integrity, lack of knowledge, basic knowledge?
Because one of the things again, I always say we lose sight of the facts and say we sometimes have to change our ways.
Yes,
we are still.
That's it.
We are still in the mentality of Sebio. Say, we know Papa or now Papaya Bonekra. Now we can right thing. Now some no copy. Papa ni nyanu ni mu a. Yes, hey, we are kwala.
Oh, say the menu. Yeah, you know we are doing better. Say no na constitution e between asasa you know na.
Mebo internet just say Papa. Instead of saying Omega so Papa was wrong no. Yes you. Papa,
come on.
Now, Papa, get out of jail card, free, or the code. So the tradition will go on. Instead of the right thing being done, no. Instead of calling a spade, you know, we are calling
it. Say your tradition, your culture, I don't know. And no cry for start, your friend saying it doesn't make the constitution. Constitution, on that,
exactly.
Let me read this test. From one Dr. Ambrose Amensha, Nyanko Dikeso, or say it is rather the enforcement of the Constitution that is lacking. A police officer, for example, the IGP once appointed must act in the interest of the state by adhering to the law and not act as the president's poodle. And I'll say, as a concerned citizen, if you are appointed to a position, you act within the law. If the president forces you or directs you to act in violation of the constitution, you must decline.
Mansa Musa.
Oh, meaning you must decline. So the way SCC baby bebre, China, Korea, Japan. Say president to I didn't know you know, and famra coin so and say what appoint you and say we demand. We have to change our mentality. Meet you.
Mansa Musa. The mentality I to me changing is say, Womu Kromutia say, our mabefia beje position. Womuba system is change womu corrupt.
Of course.
Womu wabe trouble say, and cause womu bibi papa biba Ghana. Yes, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah. As some I can amode to trouble say anyone one. Papa no kasa ansana maybe. Your friend say. Your kasa is here.
Papa, okay. Introduction, Me Mansa Musa. 1 second. Introduction, me Mansa Musa. Wo Odike, Mr. Dawson Amwa, and Mr. Joseph Nkrumah.
Mr. Dawson.
And Joseph.
Thank you. Mr. Amwa, thank you. Okay. Mr. Amwa can say be, and I am 100% on the same page with him. Was it China? I follow system, traditional system. I don't know more than I come out with a hybrid.
Sure.
Onipa. When you my nyansa say, I dear be a yano. Young fire common sense. And to come out with something. Ebema yakoyenim. The constitution is not a static document.
Yes.
It's a living document. And they grow together.
Yes.
It's a debia obey constitution and rana ona a shemuno a mau so papa no stock.
Of course.
Constitution agreement attitude and behavior. Nina no ye free abrabom. Wo bi wo wa na na abrabonya kura. Enam baby a wo no any baby a tete no. Okonya baby papa ni baby a nipa no musuba ye no etna. Ekwofo no sesa no sana constitution tie.
Yes.
Asopara kana e bi ji kwa left right center say e nipa no. One na integrity. Integrity be for asasi so. One na attitude. You be for asasi so. Behavior. You for asasi so. Now what practice behavior cha na be your attitude. It's a good behavior or bad no. Environment
Embrena befa solutions. Embrena kano Mr. Me producer na ni me kasa Mr. Wa memo to asem no so. Okay, me producer me say me mo anunsi na ese me ye commercial kitwe bi mo anunsi.
Okay. It is sad man na yefua constitution yefua mu asem na ye constitution no atchire institutions in say gu yachi President Ba one appointed all the heads of the institutions. Institutions in your say.
Okay.
They were the president.
Me was serious argument. Me no was serious argument with their work home. Say constitution no and they restricting crowd muntu mi nya omwedwuma. Goodness me. Member also beto de nya votre mame. Mutie Mansa Musa program we omo sponsor le from edwumapa.com. Sa edwumapa.com mo abroche UK ha no. Ye were equivalent enone a check a trader. Say upe electrician, upe mason, upe plumber, obi oye juma telephonist, anything. Uko check a trader honwa. Hono me recommend you obi amount. Ni pakra obenya na fisa check a trader hono. And guarantee safety, say na juma no ne satisfied bibia no guaranteed. Sa system ni bi na ye no mbi omo America omo di bi ko Ghana ye de na friend edwumapa.com enti odikanu mu a omo wo Ghana ya omo anya omo bi kakra wo mboto mo ka so omo ye omo nyoma e na so odike fefo no a na ko Google a na wa download edwumapa.com odike ka kira onkrofo nyina iskafo no ene ehiafo no nyina edwumapa.com uko Google no so a ubo edwumapa.com na omo na bebon nipa organa ho sa nipa no omo police checks omo background omo bibia de sabe enya amro baby ekromo ha mitumi frɛ plumber na me jai me dan no me jai fie na ma no na o ye adwuma na me come baby on fa hwe nkoda because ono no wa ensure na adwuma no police for nim no ne busuma no bia okofa me bia na adwuma on enti saa de man be the person go Ghana enti ne tia wo mu no adwumapa.com omo na sponsor Mansa Musa na before me ba odikeso na me ne na ba tete wo hall baby o kan ye no yen kwa homa no so abrante yi ofre ba ko na antom no se ofre ya atom Kid Edward.
Hello, Mansa Musa.
Yeah, Chechi Ampeni for no na ye.
Yo, me ma money aduma.
Odike dia na hye wo minimu.
Me, Mansa Musa.
Sorry, Odike, sorry. Hey, Kid Edward, dia na hye wo minimu.
Mansa Musa atmenka.
Okay, kasa. Motinenka. Samotinenka dia yenko. Kid Edward yenko.
Mpanyifu a mo ahoma iso me ma mwadwo nyumre.
Ya joso.
Ya Mansa Odike na design.
Boss, me hoye.
Ede nyame ase. Me ma mo ene kasa. Mo nyina mo susuye na mwadwo nkyere no to asomu papa. Die nanka Mansa Musa ntene ho ase no so think say Mansa Odike aboho amafede amse watena wati nti enhia se meko hobi o na assignment ba ko a Odike di ma Mansa Musa mu ya na sabre na o voice na ma no se sa o hwe na se system no ntimi encheke ne ma dia nka freelance na bra na be hwe ma encheke ya wono na nzai
Nesa Odike no anim said the all no sabi ye krom wo ho mentality ne bi ne ye kan yo if you are we be ma brafie sab you be chese ho no asaya pro enti mi ye ho he Odike kan asem bi so mema wato aso enye abrochefo nyina na asesa o mema two examples two one any osagefo ye nyina anim ofi abroche bae na adwen pa ogina ne na so ye nyina anim two ye were rabi of krom ha ye friend no efia black coffee MPP for fan say on behwe Ghana Tourist Board so black coffee akase no mutum osi ohwe corruption this is 2018 oh and ojai adwuma ojai ono eje otiglanda ha 3 days ago na me ne chate osi o Mansa Musa me ye ready ameba me ya adwuma se de me nya adwuma o nti me bre corruption no nkaba na wanya no ho abesi dan kra beto dan wo UK ha black coffee woman no ojai asamba London ha biom because the pressure of corruption no on the osi on to me nye enti anye sabi abrochefo nyina na asai hwe dia wo kana wo kase nkrofo bi Odika humanitical but Odika can be used say nkrofo bi free London ebe ye primaries ejiji sika when him say na omo chairman MPP for chairman wo UK ha was sending me audio bi obabesie bi presi yi chairman no say wa ya ade say ensem omotiti enye no kure say nkrofo keka say omko jiji sika na enye no kure ensem cho ye mu bia pro ya profifie whether abrochire o Ghana ya pro and e binu musu ye very very genuine me nka enchire nka fo no ho me Mansa Musa me we are one of them very genuine but I dey you be prove later kire ye to asem so
Anti no di nka to nsample say wo de wo ye genuine dika na na be na ne ma ntimi nkodru
eja kokura ntimi
Never write the wrong. Never write the wrongs.
Mate.
Well, written nche ni omu ni say ni akoso ewo Africa ya manu mu no anya dia enika
NFM Radio
na adia ba ko mu ya America ama minua no matie na etiefo nyina so atibie ni say ya man Ghana mu dia asem we Mansa Musa makano time and again say after Rollins no yinya be ma bia o Ghana nti ni ekoso o Ghana no de I mean ni ekoso Africa no de minyi ni se Ghana ho no ye hwe bia nim because after Rollins no me hu se be ma pa de yinya be ma bia o Ghana Yes, I support to say we be nkotu aban no. But near cost war Africa no. Ni say Ghana dey be betimi asi. Name insurance Kenya me say there is a new dawn in Ghana politics. Yeah, or no, and all be civil coup and a civilian coup in Ghana. Say any pano, and a compreko Kennedy or Hene Japan. Because the BC that in the history of Ghana. Mama no
and from an West Africa, one some serious issues. So, a compreko from 2019, 2017. Taxes, any Japan, the PDS, all those things na buying no or Jesu yes sir, parliament. But who claim you criticize here? Now, or no, say no, yes, Jesus, no, all Baba ye and your my ye no. And then, Moody arguing, you people, you undermine our intelligence.
I know what in America, or I mean, my in America.
Casa,
imagine.
What a casa, what do you casa? What am I?
And my team, I'm in
Jesus Christ.
And there is a new dawn in our democracy. The outspoken politician Kennedy or Hine Japan. Now, listen to me, Mansa Musa. You know me. Now, in the history of Ghana, what be that? Say, politician, etnia Gina. Baby enye fichire enipa mu akasama ato dwase obe challenge the sitting president bibiara any babyara what be that
Matia
why na can be out here
Matia so ubu efu na wutietiem ni
afa why na can be out here say
your friend call disciplinary committee no the course no what.
Oh, Mansa Musa.
Wakoka chyo said ya meka na maka na opomra wate
meka sem foforo nti wonzo ka foforo a mami ye ne bia na woto aka wo
dia na wodi ne be magana fa de Ghana wo che say ya progressa
man ka chira wo say
ade Ghana na Jimmy Krasa ade
ana wo mpe no there is a new dawn in Ghana politics.
Oh, the Kanimu pay union government. So who can say union government
the next president of the Republic of Ghana? Whether you like it or not. Because in the history of Ghana, no,
English teachers.
So, oh yeah, I mean,
Dawson, train. Can I do a trasso? The morning see.
So, a police in me. So, a day. So ye den so ye wa hene so ye akoa o ye afana ebi si da se nipa bi agina ne nanso e wo nipa mu enye fichire e wo radio so obe challenge the sitting president any day any time the ever show down okrantonte. That is exactly what I'm talking about say ni e so Africa, yes, Gabon, and Rose, and almost what years no. Ghana, dear, after Rollins, no, Bemabi and Yajibio. Nemo no Sabrino, and Yenya civilian leader, all by a civil coup against all the rottens.
And you know, you can't convince anyone.
Mansa Musa.
That's according to you.
Onokasa can who be from 2017.
That's according to you. And the moment I can't come to you.
One second. Dawson, say a person you are before Obetuasu. Dawson, quickly answer the market. Dawson, who's the Dawson? The man is first when I'm on train in the best row.
I took in it where they say, my class 2 teacher be in a car, a boo baby. Let's say, empty barrels make the most noise. Now, na akukudro we ma menka nche eyi King Edward se ohun obi otumi gigi ekun nim na ekun ankasa started there na wedwane so ohun bi da on train obehu bi and manin kase Ghana ohwe be bia after Rollins anyhow. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. When you get to a point, and you get to a point in your life, somebody wants to take your life, you will fight back in a way you will even be shocked and amazed by yourself. Say you were able to achieve and defend yourself in that manner. Inti enkase ebia sebio Ghana for a man kwa na egum anabi Mansa Musa any wonder the war between the Tutsis and Hutus, they were so peaceful. Everybody thought to say it would not go that far. But once blood was spilled, look at how bad it became. Sometimes, am I in fin diagro?
Me feel say no can Japan no slow change of power no esi obia entina no hihye no ono anim say hey se power sesa na nya ne party a onim say asem aba entina no hihye no anya so yidi papa oni criteria kra sadia no modi defeat intelligence okay odike yina rebate na me man into aso
Mansa Musa enya ememasem yemfa akukroko eniamim na the make tell me you say Ghana for Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah can say me was Ghana for is slow to anger but the do baby na omu huria bibia no stop mu Canada Japan wa there and pedifo bebre wo Ghana ankosi hwe sa ne there ne de o there no wo say obemo mu show down no na ko so specific say we na me ba be ye wo Naka Ghana for baby or day Assembly. Well, keep Ghanaians in a suspense. Sana de Biokasa. Na Akoda. The person can say Yakasa. Matrobukwa, your friend union government. The new structures are a democratic system. It is a channel, Diana, Mr. Amway. We come out with a hybrid.
Person will be preemptive. Also, because he be solutions. And I'm young Casam Bo BBC Union Government Patrol Nyabe 2 minutes be na Canadian finance on defending no on
me rapport Marco.
Monfa no kakra na afena maba man 1 minute pe Canadian fa humanity chiro ho na
your man I may repeat myself. Can it be or any Japan there? Say ope anasa or one panel. Nia ope anania one panel. He is going to be the next president of the Republic of Ghana come 2025.
Are you?
Enti ahone dia mawie. Na nienti America say Ghana after Rollins be bia eni Ghana afina yenya the new dawn. Ya obeye civil coup anasa obeye civilian coup no. No. Na ninchire mo ni say before Rollins, na asojafo aban entugro eba neko naba neko naba neko. Rollins be cool. Ya otu abangu ye no. Why let me tempt Rollins? The 11 years
no, what do you say correct too? Temptation tempting no dey bebre. Yeah. They are all cano ne entias no hobet wo ka say
mama me use another word
me Mansa Musa me ni me anti-aircraft team ye can be and I'm microphone society
ma me use another word why let me overthrow na ba go here
say how dey that say listen King Edward to be we there yeah to me the try to be fair to Odike, I say Otwana Yisuna me money. Before Odike me bad. So you can't remember Ghana ho metuaka say obi say Oliver Vomawo. Obi say Odike for someone to sit in the country. Even Captain Smart Cray back to me catch an anjo or ye comfort to me can plain. No. Dabena Kaleja Poko in a boxing ring and also got 2 carat. Anyway, so won't come Bema. Odike Tigana say, hey, cool bow me support. What is brave than this? Odike my union government no wasem na yenko.
Union government no a hybrid of our traditional culture, our norms, plus a modern day governance, contemporary governance. I have a hybrid out of this. Democracy, a template. Krobia, Krobia Tilani, to suit the traditions, the mindset, and the thinking of the people. And you know, your constitution way, your box on about 2 years so, a neo-colonialistic in nature. And you know, the puppet of the West. Amane. When the no able no. Your constitution way, and my president quine, and my mineral resources for one. Or on the Kodiano international world say, so when you about the who me president na make sure the Ghana binya. And no, I can't be na yebre. The president no my 10%. No one above 90% echo. Yenim baby can be free. Near said you match up Kwajabosia. Now I buy your mineka. We need a constitutional review. Said the Tamis of blessed memory. Ohunyansa, am I a committee state resources of $3 million? Near the year, our recommendations. A national fact funding mission. A solicite divergent views. Umuya Omokekan MSCNE the Constitutional Review Commission. Yewra Mahama and the next president and also implement it. After Senate boss at Amis Wuyano. But if you who say powers now a bemana a kunta so ya Jeffrey and Sam the amount for no. It's not the presidency, no, and Yama person or yeno, amount run a personal self-seeking aggrandizement na emwa to amfa wa me implement it. A free 1992 eba o ma banyi dada akofo e de everybody their campaign say constitution no emu na ho o ma banyi dada akofo their campaign 96 say mu na ho o their campaign 2000 say mu na ho o mo to aso nyina obi no a na ni campaign message mu Rollins Krebe wo no o ka kire say the constitution no after 30 years of its application, a brass was system. Namina Casa identity will be antime to Rollins. The two be antime and you went to Rollins and said this constitution was promulgated on the premises of security. Now a per se truncated federal coups. And Nuntina, yes, sir, 2 million adema, the executive arm, Sabaya, Obenya, Nekro Famoma war from a through to a form, no my watchdog against any coup. Sabre, Ghana, ya successful over 30 years. I will say, Obiantia, and Yoku and Trabayangu. Constitution here, say, Constitution be promulgated on the premises of economic gains. I repeat, economic gains. Now, sir, Constitution, yenya separation of powers. Institutions are 100% independent. Now, state, leaders are accountable to the state. Now, some constitution, a slash majority of the discretionary powers given to the executive. Now, You create idea friend leadership strategies. You never guide under the steps of the citizens and the steps of the leaders. Until second of when Abeja said, if in 1992 bano, and Penfolina, dear Bentina, woman the constitutional review campaign, near to Obama woman, a judge lady. When they test the power, Omun said, no, Samia constitutional reviewer, Emma McQuarrie, Mamma, near me person, I want me personal and a parochial interest. No matter the national interest not all. State institutions now are weak because of partisan infiltration. It's my brother. Constitution, who try no more? Now constitution, no, was the same kakran educate and to crew. Yet the Yajato, I'm an ache, intino. So Biaka say, constitutional review. Ghana from Benin for Nim say, I don't know about Mana it's a lie. All the successive government of Maba Kunyano, Ubia the campaign and Akufado, na can campaign agenda. And they wrap Mahama say, Oba Obetache constitution. Obia can was him, eti a national friends request from our leaders. Eti here, gallant men are Gana formable. Na ye na ko rante mutime maya the constitutional review no the best suit to ye more contemporary leadership ma factor enema e die nyina Ghana in Ghana the friends saying what we call it maya national introspection enema ema amanofo kwan emomudie dumope de ya ebema entoku na sisi Parliament abe partisan. They are Abema party Parliament are responsive to the nation and their constituents. All these structures, Ghana, we need a bottom-up approach system of governance. So say they are only up bottom one. It's not too many now is an map form. This is what is giving us a feedback now. And you'll be at them. Your resources now, we are giving it away to the colonial masters next to nothing. They are using our leaders as puppets. And we need to tackle all these issues and ensure say ye remaining resources no do na ho mfaso ye nya wa eti Mansa Musa nipa ka ho because nipa na ye mra but ye nya nipa omubabo ma ya nhihye papa except we see Abrosign up a foundation very shallow okwa na until 1992 you two anamobia na yasa ba ye chi no eti let us all come together. Say constitution why don't we have a round table discussion? Me Miami the union government say editing every and publishing be ankai make us say and bring our problems to finality. But suggestions to the people of this country will be sure be another account. Then we put our heads together.
Sure.
Now don't forget, say constitution is now our system of governance editor before say colonial masters ever and now say slave trade now there was a system now Juma I will be entry to be found this now Juma it is above bar. Now was say a near to 2 years. Said the channel 4 years no. By the ya 2 years in egu. Said the Samoa kind and Yakofa will need ye. But when you come abrabo, womu weather and be near the anyepe. It we don't yet Mamma Yemuya who said America for ye be near Koyabiwa a bay. I don't America for LGBTQ. Now they say empty. Second, almost say right or yes, say a wrong. So where do we draw the line? Saka a human right no woman at the brain. It almost in a cold baby said, a man and a man worry, madam, worry, tum. But you better have a culture. Listen, you have a culture. Never be a free by a way. It is alien. It's tum. I didn't know Yanka say fundamental human rights, no. So America for the Abadia, any Britain for the Abadia, Yamfam bra. It tells you, say, ye bibia, ya to your culture, cultural decadency, any morality, a decay organ, as a result of carbon copy of Obicrum and Sheshe, I alien to our culture. And no, and I higher near, I created a dear friend dishonesty. Titwa, na kronu ni hono. Sabe, near an animal bosom crown, no mujidi said, Ukophobia dia, abosun betimi akun. O se asasia, abosun betimi akun. O sensua, abosun, yokrum, Uda 50 meters to the river water body, no. And you can say, Okobim. Sabe, ya wura no be bonsu no ban. Na evaporation, soon. Ebenada esemi consume. Na ya adwuma because the person nsuo no overflow in the banks. And na ya to we nyina to agu. Ana yakofa boni die. And then nsu akese pa akra no yatimi ase no.
Anyway, baby I walk kakwa no baby ebe ma ayi ye ensem ne be doors wo kasi ya to ni nyina agu yakofa boni die a hono ha madwe kaka because the awu kan nyina ye die na awu kan nyina ye constitution. The only difference say na ye Toronto ho. Oho ye die ye wo ho yi me hu obroni bia constitution mu a obeka say munsa musuo ema ohimpon the king of Ashanti ebesre the king of England only forest only jungle say obesre no how to clean up, how to maintain your forest enye ye ni wu enti anu so no eyobi culture eyobi culture no
of a system of governance na ya faro exactly powers me pacho
yes by
constitution oh Mansa Musa powers na jama president on the map permit ema omuko sensuo no president and map powers so on take na men ka de wunim a president na map
a map na ton ni pa mi ensane for so president na ton
o say
assassin na ton man ni pa 4-5 no so president na ton
why say for no sa yentimi nchum because wo mo political
constitution na
it is only say we've outlived its goodness, you know. In this year, no, the bad is beginning to exhibit.
Anyway,
who can say yes? Confusion now. Importation of foreign culture.
No, ODK, I agree with you. But then what I would say is, look, one of the things is why ADM, nyapa, chieftaincy aspect, you know. So you see a scrap here, we need to scrap that one as well. Because
my brother, Nina boils down to constitutional review. Yeah, and for no, and now many politicians I have about Ghana. And I many more. I saw for baby many. You don't know what is going on. It's more to Amoya say US there. Where you say no, the only a foot of Baba. Unyobian can be mount.
The brutality. Okay, me bow. Dear na what constitution ni mo a Emma obi to me say ma onfa mra enye adwuma
because there a work constitution ma Emma obi entimi family anya adwuma ni say president no ya mano indemnity clause immunity it will not start ya bone no ono na kache ana bone ni free na clause wo mo maka na sua. I am telling you that indemnity
clause the immunity isn't forever. The immunity isn't forever, is it?
Anyway,
Massa, one day Kukodo say, as president, we are fanning court because
Nasa was waiting the narco court.
Massa, now your court, no, a good court, who has a court to be a year old.
Integrity as because court, no, constitution be addressed, or the Keba quarter, judge, no, the assembly or the Wabra Nasam Yede. Or judge, you know, only integrity. Into na wasam yede kwa on the map.
And you know, he's been micromanaged by certain big arms.
Only integrity, yes. Only integrity. That's the point. Only integrity.
Integrity. Ya pamwa okofia wonya kama phobia.
Mamema another example. Share Obiti say, Domilevo, Bibia Kufado Bekasa onye. Integrity. Constitution, you know. And constitution.
Anybody who was an abuser said, Domilevo, who got a Findian away.
Oh, now so when you mark a crossing the annoying.
Dabi. And for on a test case. And I'm saying millions in this country who might defend it or minor or any some will be a more.
I know your constitution is photo. They are maybe to us, but one person, but one person, why you are who the one about Timothy said, "You can't constitution, but in some it's not because of the constitution. Listen, Mamika said, "Bincho, they be also have a trouble. Some references why be brave, but not me person me few. Look, maybe Bahano, maybe you're Pan-African, maybe Pan-African, maybe be Memu, and so at the same time, it will say." Tambia me try me you come say I don't know how and yes maybe be Fabian and Yamio na Jesus or na Christ or na Bible. They don't do Bible too much. But honesty, ewo kroma, unya ballon acha 1 year, acha 6 months. Ube who say honesty, ye kromu so dia unya do acha 1 week, who say dishonesty. And so Bible ne this start here there, ye this start here.
Uni babia breaking for SRT creative systems.
Yes, it has taken time. But still, Bible. And sorry.
Listen to me. Mansa Musa. For deep breaking for so.
Yes.
It got to a time Nina was crap on.
Yes.
A miracle. No mu yinema edu omunya e free.
Yes.
And I am some liberating.
Yes.
Ghana, your tribes people and Hunedi so. Baby, I want what the breathing. I'm about to tell you.
So, Obiba says, "See, I'll begin say, oh, yeah, cast a breathing, you better say, Gayada, and you know, a count. The point is, me say, me say, so we do chrome her. Acha, within 1 week. Uber who say, some honesty kakrebi, and what has in Ghana. And so, you see a Chelsea Bible, and see Obia. These are the things we should. When any constitution, any constitution. No more money buy and no more money buy and who say moi. I don't know. You cram chinchasa. Constitution in a ma. You cram Bible no chinchasa. Any constitution, no.
Constitution, no. Now constitution will be there. Who's going to make sure to say the Nippon?
They say. Yeah, no more Bible no buy no more cram no. Yeah, Parliament will have for prayers in starting. Yeah, Parliament have almost for prayers in starting. But so almost ye debate now. Obie him say, asem no kano, so kan ma ebua o my mufuo. Yes, so kan na ebua ne party. Ade na ye no ye de, so kan de na ebua o party. Ye yansa ye ni ma constitution na.
Your parliamentary whip system. Oh, Ghana. So what kasa we are disini na why make block decision on you tend to lose your seat the next when you and you may be wunyanti ase
Mr. Odike, honestly speaking, yes. Only a kasa sabio Ghana no mu dimu komo ya so me tia na sa references no never be a monti ase David Odike man yes because baby a fever no ye movie me can about but baby a fever no so who try catch me say me nim system or operate or Ghana in terms of politics then you are wrong because me there cause and I mean say and I mean say you for you dishonest share you dishonest and the Bible is not helping and when your constitution
listen, I just want to console not just every time we are wrong, we are right. No, allow me to talk. Me to be getting too much. Or be making a point. Why no all? It's not good.
Some reference
What's it? Sorry. Argentina Parliament, our Ghana, Omu take block decisions, and this point na MPP,
well, I just said it here. You saw integrity. The word is integrity. And then here the integrity in you
because your parliamentary whip system, a whip and this point na
America some more whips, but still integrity reigns. You need integrity.
And for your information, since 1992, and this point na baby back MPP for
you see any integrity. Agree to that.
Exactly.
And your constitution, no. And your constitution, no. We don't have integrity. You pro. Object is can be. Very good. That's it.
Just a minute. Ni say Mansa Musa beka bibia e dey convince o dey ugina na ho na ugina na say ni am ni say na na do aben dey agree wapem ni obetimi ya na waye no bibia dey say unyaya anka odinachi benya ebeja Dr. Baumia na no so dey enya dey beba so entini so fi say ontimi nto adwuma no so bie no opese odinachi jaba Baumia dey a 1 year 4 months akano ma always see na ho den no say Ghana for time when nani akonwa no ma Baumia na bia no de NPP for no badwene ho say Baumia president obi en contest no na anya sa na so mo contest there ohun so ntimi fa na chinya Baumia now nia opese obeya mekumasi nyina no the office obetimi no aye the aka or dinner no Kumasi my horn on to me yet. So I mean change, Emma so name no or decame himself on Sukumase one can be a woman also can is at least or party or Ginas as a flag bearer and I wait Gina pain. And to Mama Manana don't not buy us on te. Says when he be or Dibeja Kumasi my cry international airports now or pay say obey no dear. The Eldrobia no yesterday say omomode no anyama nwie ansa na so obekọ awakọ senso office ontimi na wabre because na no awakọ party headquarters no interview and some 12 year no nsem okan no oni ani das obi ama oman no bio gisania NPP fo beyi no ono na ebeje Ghana every year how mu enti wapem eno ntina me tu no fo say so de na chibeja Baumia dia omani nye nani chire ya mo nwesi na hoden enwesi Ghana for time about 16 months akeno na onfenya Baumia bia no the NPP for mpeni for be consider no no atwa so nyesa open contest there and yeah onya ba bi nyina na mo fight for you Kumasi International Airport no na ontimi
me da say tam na so King Edward tam no aye bi odike mebusa question bi. But
man, I was saying I can't want to know me.
What is so tie? Wait. Your friend is Mr. Adam Abaso, but before Adam Bebaso no, Odike before Adam Bebaso, kai me say me see me wo question bi ma. Adam, as quickly as one momentum, time na so cry say me ponti yenko yetio.
Eja anza na me no be kasan ma me ma obema Odike mo piafo. Odike ayade. Wa say oye sebe Ghana ni mambapa enko bi a watena sante aye business aye odefo aye osikani aye peninu nko ke and criticize the establishment that the criticism of Odike has made Otumfuo sat on the throne to take proper action. Odike, you are a man of the year or a man of the century. I doff my hair for you. America, the
man of the century, the son of man. Odike wasemwa, ube kase century di enfamano. The century di enfamano. Osaji for the century niko. Okay, Adam, Adam to us.
Muma Odike didn't bread. Oh, didn't bread.
Odike Emma.
All right.
Odike Emma.
Okay.
True.
Enya hero in an work. Odike has proven to be one man who has fought the establishment and has succeeded. Odike
there's some about to say he has been brave in many things. But Okaso only the man of the century padia, a whole padia la braca. A cosi prat veka la braca.
Okay. And you bring the man of the century.
Okay. All right. Majority carries the vote. Majority carries the vote.
No, but all said and done. All said and done. No, yes, we need people like Odikenum. Yeah.
Adam, because time before everybody will come and give their summary.
And as a see and say, Emrebia a soldier for now, a war, my dear Muno, sorry, Waka. Esan says, so we share all the industrial developed countries now. Their democratic governance is supported by the army. So we share the development of America. The military machinery, no, and the ruling American government. So, and the CSA now, the young intelligence within the military in Africa have learned the lessons to see, say, so we jai amanyosem demand the individual people and I said the citizenry now, because they lack discipline, no. So if you are in the military, no, you are taught to have the notion, say, you protect and defend the territorial integrities of your country with your blood, your sweat, and everything. So and when there is a disaster in your country now, you are the first point of call. So Uber Waumai, into signing per se, Nipetina, Amanyosemu, and answer or the background now or resent Amanyosem Equa won't 8 million Mabibia Copapayon. If said the coup which are taking place in Africa, it is a right call to the political class to sit up and have a policy that is country oriented. So, because your policies in a foreign influence into what the citizenry of the country, into the sea, and it's up to us. Say, we still less, we support the majority in the country to be able to aspire what the country wants. We harness the potential of the country. People like Odike, we need 10 of them in every region. Thank you.
Thank you. Can Edward say Obusa question? But say or the Ibia SMB or since obeying and I want it.
Me take Can Edward question Obisamen.
There be Can Edward no Obusa Odike.
Okay.
Can Edward also want it? So obviously should be more.
Maso Odike mba chotimenga.
Odike si want it. O question it's obviously.
Mba chotimenga Odike. Very good. Me say, Kufuado, President, the obetimi aya no aya no say ono ankasa na no kasa na no wako headquarters or kan ye bra nsantwefo obisa na nsem no e kire se wapem the already mu say nipa foforo obesi na nan or NPP mu no e na ebe ko age Ghana obetimi a we die futu ye komo no ankasa personally odie no edi a kire obetimi a senior person wodi na chija ba omia no 16 months now can only from now for president no Emma Baumia now rese nyansa o se nyankopon de aye ni tirimo no ana nyankopon nyansa wo bia si nyina ono na che ni tirimo o rese obetimi aboa na nyesa no ye open contest there eno de anya de obenya ba bia gina akompre kon be overtake no now what the obeya asante mine in general nyese kumasenko a you obetimi an why no so am interchange no e maso omo de dada ye kwa adanko dada adwe krokro de John name international airport no Yeah, no na what they do a chiri aye hwani mu se obetimi awie no. Mon kan kire no. Oh, in particular am this so it's as a Kumase Mranti and also udi mu akotene. Wo kasa tumpon at least anye bi ekura no we have party founder wa ya flag bearer pay. Na mon kan kire no no ni airport no mayen na ifri friends a country mu be fia Kumase friends nkran kwa no ayo death trap no yet me escape no kakra the empesem dija wono no maso odike mo push my na obetimi aya no ayo ni bibi obetimi aye bi
when nkra ko na mama
yes
eti when your question iti Matthias here
right odike me question na person be busa dano me busa your friends this man Kofi Krantin any one or two of the so-called independent for no any ebinom so we neutral won ni gin so the ko wo hoi ubenya one constituency on be back fully na nka onko ye MP mom because would from there no ubenya progression instead of say we say what you party na eye dan ya akagu
Mansa Musa mona mo try Ghana no people like you mona mo try Ghana because
meet you
me manya me vision me say me the baba me man yi
yes
wona what say me ko starting free corner baby
yes
when you independent candidate MPP and this ka pa mo free parliament edu maybe ana independent candidate so mo Ghana no me be 11 now other parties our parliament see people no more no more money anyama
e once and it says who stand parliamentary seat who enya dia obe win enya sir
never who win because akufo ba so sika wo wiase na ba be pam ho
no good
Odike Mansa Musa asema wo kan me no nya adwu Mansa Musa uti kom ha
answer na woni me nya adwene no we titi me producer say me fatam kakranto so
uti kom ha
me ba to was Adam
what you say Odike on mountain campaign
Adam don't spoil your speech because I say me more time now obi eti nti nya botre me mo ka wo dia opese wo ka no but kinedu and a good question o say Odike na koli MP a wo say MP no onsa nka na president na ofu say ye de be mama wadi a good question ana
I'm can say
yes it is
I can say constituency aye enipa kakra bi na wo
yes
so mo person mo manipulate to a very simple
okay
but the national platform
okay
man yakura at least and e bi say ye to adwene a e be boa Ghana no
yes
I am not over to become the president. Listen to me. I'm not over ambitious to become the president, but I have a vision for my country.
Okay. Well, that is an answer. That is an answer. Okay, me produce another 15 minutes. You try already 10 minutes of that. I said, can we put 10 o'clock? Okay, you.
On the serious note, one was sama Odike Kano. It is the right way of changing the perception of any democratic institution. So I say in every country, there were 2 or 3 largest political parties.
Yes.
That determines the future or the governance of every country. And there were independent groups also stay on or they sit on a campaign message to shape the 2 or 3 major political parties' political ideologies. So into Odike said, and yes or no individual no and obekwa akogina constituency back on our Ashanti region. I believe the Odike Chrome constituency he will win.
I believe that the Chrome he will lose or not the kind.
We will never lose. Not what he's done. Odike has become a hero in the minds of any decent Ghanaian. But yen who are the pa, and yen saw the Pamuye.
Look at people like Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage has got the same perception as like Odike, unless say or only yet nationalistic.
So, into Odike's campaign, and yen and I be whom. A big cry and young Kuala and benefited from what Odike they see that Odike has sown. And young Kuala and benefited. The beyond Odike is the only person. My dad told me somebody challenged the establishment in Ashanti region, and it never ended well. Until when Odike started it, Amanfobika said, no. But Odike has been able to change the paradigm shift in Ashanti region. No to vote me for him be at the or Digal and say. Nanki Abraham 10% why didn't you? But he knew, sir, people like Odike who are national or the interest of the country will come out and say the right thing. Once that things are changing, until we need them. These are people with the government support. I say electoral commission or more Odikemu or more musica says any the electoral commission will give you money. Nia Kacho said if you couldn't get a threshold now, next time you are not going to be sponsored. Until they should support people like Odike to go out, campaign on a message. They take one message and they campaign. A beer among for no by so doing no. The people say me na me titano ano. You be come. I wanna me come down. I wanna me chima. I wanna me use it's my livelihood. Into Odike independent candidate no one could win based on Odike's campaign against Galamsey.
To remind my listeners, very fair to remind listeners, say what you are talking about, it's not long ago now. Odike stood up against the rampant disregard for environment, water bodies, and the rest. Odike took the chiefs or some paramount chiefs and some sub chiefs in Ashanti. He took them on, even at his own, peril or in respect of his life, that sort of thing. But he stood on his feet and he made sure that his words came out. And and just to flatter him or to praise him unnecessarily. And yen depend na bet me ayes anoma no obi de say Odike say obi de say Oliver Vomo or pneumonia de no omo de dem back they are very very vocal, they are very very strong. Enti ehole de obo Odika ba so but still anom na memfa century ni de memfa ma no century de memfa ma no century de kamia mefa right kinedu e so ka opeso ka vivi
me kaka krabi niamini ka abasobode about Odike asema okafa Galamsey home even menshia opemso okra no invite no na honde me bona baso and the man of century no me Mrs. say man of the decade. I think say no more there
only Rollins na odin between
decade no crowd here now Rollins a chair no so no there is over 10 years and over 10 years and the decade no there decade no there na man no no ni muaya or dem or concern is other than the ideas on nyina as parliamentarian now may on call parliament as MP no. And no, the answer to that your question, I totally disagree with him. Because nanka the me peti ni say ni nim die ene ni pepper or person de eboa Ghana mine a bro constituency so enunti no pese odi o mine so no. Eno nanka me hu say met me are raising the standard na kwanimu. But ni mu ya ode ma ono de em say ono ankasa onyini hu ni enunti no ma say mu ya no. Enti no a robo of
and one Timasi, a constituency, a baby kakra or mudiska influence. I need a national platform. That's what I'm saying.
Odike still me busa say, imagine say oh yeah a parliamentarian platform be na wunya wo Ghana ho.
No matter. Let's parliament.
I'm one kasa parliament. Parliament yankasa kasa say wuntimi nkasa.
Hey, when you parliament dey be bontin. Enye bi na some church no boye no. For who parliament for Brabonte, people will listen to you.
The movers and shakers of every political, are not in parliament.
One at a time, please.
So what we say, one ebu or minor ankasano, those who are actually ruling are not in parliament or they are not in ministerial appointment. They are behind the scenes. They make decisions.
Yes.
They influence every decision-making body in any country. Inti Nirono is vital. He doesn't need to be an MP. He doesn't need to be a vice president. He doesn't need to be a minister before he can make change in the country.
No,
it is something that he is showing. And I'm
and yes, a person standing for presidency now. And can wait. Oh no, guys, say or person or standing or person your president. But you know, who say the chances, the chances of him becoming a president. Let me see. It's as impossible. Let me try and explain this. It's as impossible, say, an ant, say Tatia, an ant climbing on the back of an elephant with the intention to rape. That is how impossible it is.
Who thought to say Emmanuel Macron could become the president of France? Who thought that? Emmanuel Macron went as an independent candidate and he won election. Into Odikediano, the chances are not as slim as you are saying. It is up to the citizen of the country to determine that Odike rose as he came as a businessman. Odike started as nothing. He started growing his business, grew the business.
Mr. Joseph Nkrumah, Mr. Joseph Nkrumah, what do you make of this? Odike stance, vis-a-vis Adam. Kinedwin. Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, for me, first of all, like everyone is commending him for what he stood out for. I think, and it's true, we all need to commend him because it is only when we acknowledge his contribution and then others would also gather that with him to also emulate such situations. But on the other hand, unless I'm served with the illness of paucity of memory because Mr. Odike is applauding or wishing, say, if even a coup come, he would support it, which means a military junta era is here, he would support it. Meanwhile, he is talking about president having too much power, and I don't know which military junta take over, other than the powers in the army. They rather wield more powers than even the democratically elected president. And I think it's a bit hypocritical and I say distortionary. But on the other hand, for me, as a Ghanaian, looking at the Ghana's politics, maybe I'm young. I've been involved in Ghana's politics since 2008, so I'm very relatively young. I don't see saying there's going to be any third force or any other person emerging victorious aside the MPP and the NDC. Yes, it can be possible. It's going to take a long time. And I agree with me, Papa Nasama can say, maybe the purpose now is not for Odike to be president tomorrow. Maybe the purpose now is for Odike to spark that conversation. Ochina, 10, 15 years to come, that conversation now he has generated, it will yield results. We will begin to see the fruit of that conversation, which is very true. Because if we always sit down there and say NDC, MPP, we are never going to have a very genuine and neutral argument also coming on board. Then we are all going to be served with that pail of NDC, MPP. And we need to commend Mr. Odike. Honestly, we need to commend him and commend other people now who are trying to break the chains of the NDC and the MPP. Because in so many aspects, it is they feeling that monopoly, almost they mess up every time they get up. Because look, MPP now they are messing up. NDC they say, the 100 million jackpot 2024. They are coming. And 8 years
anyway,
time,
in any case, you see, in any case, for me, I think Odike, what he stood for, what he did, the way he spoke, he stood very, very bravely in public against some very, dangerous people like traditional chiefs in Ashanti. It's not easy.
Dangerous.
And also being able to say, hey, in public, that if a coup should happen, I'll support it. This guy is much, much braver than a compre Kennedy Japan. Much braver.
Mansa Musa, you see, Mansa Musa, yeah, like you were saying, a compre Japan, whatever, just for the MPP and their gimmicks, for them to be singing praises over Akoko said watches and free form, then they think Akoko is so brave. So it's up to them. It's up to them. But Mr. Odike, you see, almost say, Mr. Odike, if I'm wrong, he can correct me. Mijiri Soya Santini. And if you look at in summer, he said it against
no,
his
the
own people.
anymore. The grandfather, the great grandfather, Befimi Krum, Mali.
and he stood up against his own people. This is the integrity we are talking about. This is the integrity, Mr. Odike, we are talking about. Say, irrespective of your background, you living in Kumasi or in the Ashanti region, coming from Ashanti region, your mother or your father and all that being Ashantis, you stood up against your own people and demanded and said what is right must be done and what is wrong must be condemned. This is the integrity we are talking about. It doesn't have to warrant to say, opposition or mentionantino, onka. This is what, because you made your money in Ashanti region, you are an Ashanti born, you are your family and everything is, but you stood up against the
you people keep saying, Odike made money, Odike money. I didn't know Odike made money. Odike was kind of meant to you. Huh?
Well, Nasa.
Who was the kind of woman sponsor?
Let us commend him. Let us commend him, and let us encourage others to kind of come on board and let us try to have people who bring new ideas that will change the narrative. Because if it is NDC MPP, I think we will be sitting down here talking about the same thing. There's no new ideas because they feel they don't have any competition. Until I feel say,
but if you want a change, you must change before you can effect change.
Yeah, let me come in with this. The reason why I said
Joe, Maudike and Robati Kakra.
In what some now can Ebuma Bem say, Odike, Unyama ne match. Listen, Yana had the gem, yeah, probably be a free gen. Odike, I approve beyond reasonable doubts, Obetimaye. But to say, there were duopoly of MPP and NDC. It would decay on to me the gen no Oma Emeboye. But Mr. MPP near this network. Yes, MPP near this in your. It is a possibility change by farmers Swabano. Oh, Mr. Odike. Yeah, I am not to okay. But MPP and NDC abetwa wo mu. Wo ma nwene da say MPP and NDC ba betwa wo mu. And I enti omu di ni bi. Emre sesa Niger ne bi ni ma sisi no ma na nwene da say sare man kra beba ye beda banyane na aba. Enti woto a be positive minded. Say bibia ye possible. Na prepare wo ho. Prepare. Your person you dress the part and act the part. Yeah, Mr. Odike, thank you very much for your nice contribution there. You see, the point in say, even if we are to look at the history of MPP coming into power, it took them almost over 30-something years before they came to power, right? Yeah, yes. So they've come from somewhere. When I say you might not be able to come to power today, it doesn't mean forever you might not be able to come to power. You need to start from somewhere. Everything has to have a beginning, right? Thank you. And I feel
this is the beginning. This is the starting point. The reason why Emma Maker said probably, let's say 2024, 2028, it will be hard for you to come and say, one kasawa can be yeah, the gym. A jama ye dim na say, nam am Roberts HAC pay you queen. Right? We need to run for our lives. Now, some share per the elections course in 2020. Would they all the opposition parties except NDC, NMPP, FIMA, would they all the other opposition parties now vote Omunya Kamboma and do 2%? Now, mid the Jema ye a Janice Shemi Pobima Beyimia, Obiano parties bear 5 for Krabomania 2%, and I'm saying Beyimia.
You know why? I financial masses.
Exactly. So you are not there yet. You are not there yet. So I will not rely on you now to come and redeem me. For now, I will say yes, why are there? But for now, no, Yemfama Obia, who can better manage our resources than the Akufo-Addo.
But so Mamuso accept. One bet me, a Jabana, send the Padina Chinto bet me, I manage your resources. So what? Any large followers, and the church are there. Akufo-Addo, percentage of the way.
Yeah, the Akufo-Addo to my
right. Where did you Tio? Where did you? We be say we live to see Odike for camera. Yeah, camera ni na utino. Wapampa mko na mihu. Hey, that's better. Munyina no munya botre na muntie. Munya botre mame. Munya botre na muntie mami we kakra. Mure buntie we refresher. Buntie kakra bi misremo. Hey, anyway, okay, sorry. Me be idea so na me. Tobo mame. Monya botre mame me pay refresher be just to refresh our minds a little bit na yakwe nim afi yanko
wa yanko ya fo mas the relegation ya bako bakada wise na zakes okay ya local relegation by 20 years break the 8 break the chump you break the 8 now or you break the chump yanko messi yan break a share because this yala no nkofo le break nkofo le kasa yeko rounds ko yen tum nkashe yeko yen me gwase adamu hu ni say Dr. Bawumia o bale na la tsakanu mu na kanu wa ka sugotem o tsakanu na kana ga sugotem so ba say kan e people won for 10 candidates ni na amra against
right mami we ni kasa no kire say eno no utie wie pe na say okope se appetition bi ana whiskey bi ana se so coffee ana se milo bi ana wano because mami we kasa wi ana se epon o se break no break o se break the ni twem ai enio come go see fuma come go see besia wala
basa meko
eno yegina tamu na so yegina
no kasa no kasa say one person's vision and a sound mind. And that crowd and a sound mind. It is a why what you Odike any large followers. Let me tell you, a Krobia radical change a reform.
Okay, you know. Oh, Odike, why you not freezy? There be the machine freezy.
And the move at no independent. Uko Benia.
Yeah, fancy her. Odike, wo machine no suchucha Adam. Me da se bebre. Wo mre no na wo mre no sa.
No, what is and
one in call for the car say omunyi as flag bearer enti sa question we dey Mr. Omani nya no na me no watie for ntibi say ni all can be brebe ya all advice ni say and one call standing for NPR or see MP dey Akufo-Addo omodi sika be fa mu nti wontimi nya e ma me ka say ono anka say what discourage no Is he telling me and your listeners say, Yampa next year, you bring anything or ballot paper as well? Is he contesting?
Of course. 2012 the contested election.
Okay, into our promise to say, next year, you be unity or ballot. And I want to send you in a man, no, and someone in Amuko vote to Mano. Now the Kenyan numbers, no.
Yeah, where you go? 2012, I was on the ballot.
Mansa Musa political ideology. Me say me a socialist-oriented political persuasion.
Now, socialist now watch Kakrakasa no. Ah, sa watch na ball no. Sa gawo chief was Sokoto crown nibi. Wow. Hey, socialist now. What when they watch a ball? Are you?
Socialism doesn't mean poverty. Socialism has proven beyond reasonable doubt to say it is the only economic.
Okay, it is socialism, no more minimalism, no, and then more stringy champagne. I have a catcher and say doesn't mean poverty. Someone with the idea could do. Anyway, my brother, we are all in the same soup. My pong, my pong. I am a broad, Mumbra near Friday, so. Bentia no accusing is oka kidnappers no hono say any lawyer name Martin Pebu or say oba dim komo or say seven chichens obeyi sembia pie wo magro so nti time no so no ba next week obi anya so no metie
they say they slow down baby obefabia show down and one ekro Kennedy on here Japan
yati
have a good night
ebe kufu adu show down
yeah be da mu nyina masi yeah face anya me adu watch na ebe to aso
okay good night yo bye
NFM Radio.
Make sure I'm a sewa about heaven.